Thank you. I request Dr. Sen Gupta to kindly take the discussion forward. Over to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Ushaji. Welcome, everyone. Now that we know Professor Mala Srila, extremely talented poet, I have a question for her. Ma'am, how challenging it was to write and get your poetry published?
First problem was not so much getting the poetry published, but to actually write poetry. The reason for this being the curriculum that I was teaching for many decades at the University of Delhi, and I see some of my colleagues here. And we were not at all encouraged at the time that we began teaching. I started teaching in the late 70s. We were doing a very British and American oriented syllabus. There was no room for Indian literature, and somehow there was a terrible divide between so-called academia and creative writing. So I wrote about 16 or 17 books that were so-called academic books, which I don't think too many people read. But there also, I made gave myself the difficult task of writing about women whom nobody wanted to read about. So my first book was on Indian women writers who write in English, and I was clearly told by many people that this is the end of your career at Delhi University. But fortunately, it wasn't. In fact, that book and what came subsequently actually have helped me through many good, happy situations. But for me, the real break came when Namita and I started working on the feminine divine, so to speak, or the goddess trilogy as it is often called. Our first book was on Sita, the second on Radha, the third recently on Lakshmi. That was when I began to realize how deep our own history and our own mythology and legends are, and we don't have to bother about the Western feminism which wasn't applying in the Indian conditions in any way. So I started writing not only prose, but then I dared to write poetry, and I dared to approach you, Kiriti, to say, will you please do my book? And it happened.
And that was history, and that's how Mandalas of Time happened. Congratulations, ma'am, for being shortlisted. Your book, Mandalas of Time, was shortlisted for the 2024-25 Rabindranath Tagore Literary Prize. Congratulations once again. Would you like to read a poem or two from your new book, your second book of poems, Signing in the Air?
I'll do a bit of reading if you like, but